morning, good afternoon and good evening to everyone wherever you may be tuning in today's episode of Around the Globe. We are back on home soil in Melbourne, Victoria for the Australian Hire and Rental Industry Association's Hire 25 show, here to capture some more unbelievable stories, experiences and valuable insights from some absolute rental icons, legends, leaders and drive education for the global rental community. But before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to Mark Simonson for our continued partnership and for making this incredible opportunity possible. And a massive congratulations to Mark and the team at Latner Software for being nominated again as a finalist for this year's HRA Supplier of the Year Award in the software category. They took it out last year, so hopefully they can go back to back in 2025. What a way to kick off this year's HRA Show series. I'm sure everyone listening in has experienced moments during their lifetime when certain individuals can walk into a room and instantly make you feel at ease. Linda Carter-Watts is one of those people for myself. She hasn't just built a business, she's shaped the very fabric of our industry, playing a pivotal role in the growth, leadership and mentorship within the HRIA over 3 decades, serving as State Vice President, South Australian President, South Australia's Event Chair and Judge of the prestigious Australian Event Hire Company of the Year Award. Originally from Canada, kickstarting her career in management and team support with the Canadian F1 GP in Montreal. Fast forward to today, she's a business manager and co-owner of one of South Australia's most respected event flooring companies, Advanced Technology. Forging the path alongside her husband Jamie, better known as Fox, together have created a company known for exceptional innovation, service, reliability and sustainability in modular flooring solutions, making some of Australia's premier events come to life, from concerts at the Adelaide Oval, LIV Golf Adelaide and the V8 Supercars Adelaide 5000, rewinding to 2021, being recognised, honoured and the first ever recipient of the Women in Hire Award on the Gold Coast, an incredibly emotional, well-deserved recognition reflecting everything Linda has poured into our industry. The ever-gracious, generous, kind-spirited Lady of Wisdom and Australian event hire icon. I'm excited to welcome Linda Carter-Watts.
Oh, wow. What an intro. Thank you.
Linda, we've made it to Melbourne.
Yes.
Short trip for you, long trip for me.
Yes.
Excited to see you guys as always in what seems to be our now annual Hire Show catch-ups. How are you this afternoon?
Very good, thank you. And yourself, Michael?
I'm very well. Much better now that we're here and got through the gauntlet of the Melbourne Convention Centre.
Yes.
Linda, let's start from the very beginning. Before Australia and before advanced technology, take me back to the early days in Canada, being a part of the Canadian F1 GP in Montreal. You must have been in a very high profile and high pressure environments, and I'm sure the move from Canada to South Australia was also a big leap, not just geographically but professionally as well, and the base of a true novel of a love story, moving to the other side of the world for love. And I actually heard you representing Canada in curling.
Australia. Never Canada. Canada, I just went to the Nationals, but I represented Australia when I first got here to 2 Pan-Pacific Championships. Unfortunately, coming second to Japan both times.
So Linda, for the audience at home, what firstly brought you to Australia, how you ended up in the hire and rental industry, and how did the journey unfold?
Well, actually, as you stated earlier, I came over with Fox, my husband, who I call Jamie, so it'll probably confuse people all the way through. I came over in end of 1992. He used to build the corporate hospitality for Formula One around the world. So I did the 93 season with him on the road. Then we came back and we decided we were going to kind of stick to one spot for a little while. And we opened up Advanced Tent Technology, which has evolved over the years from originally tents, because that's what it's called, Advanced Tent. Now we're doing mainly flooring.
So was there ever a moment where you questioned, was it the right move, and going from the high adrenaline F1 scene to starting from scratch in Australia?
Well, it's kind of as exciting in a different way, because it's a personal leap of faith as opposed to, having a huge corporation behind you. My boss for Formula One was Bernie Ecclestone, so having Jamie as a boss was just as complicated, strangely enough, because he's quite rigid. He likes things to be done well the first time, and move on from there.
Well, Bernie and Fox are probably definitely dynamic in their own sense, but
Exactly.
definitely different in height, that's for sure.
Definitely different in height. Bernie was pretty much my height.
Linda, was there any standout lessons or experiences from this role in Canada and this, I guess, role that you had around the globe with F1 in the early days that really shaped who you are and your life in 2025 and your operation that you guys run with events here in Australia?
Well, certainly with Formula One, the show must go on. So it doesn't matter. There's no excuses that are acceptable. You have to put out, produce, and have the best possible for your client. And generally, your clients are the most important thing in your life in that time frame.
Linda, yourself and your husband Jamie, better known as Fox in the Australian hire community, have not only been business partners, but as we mentioned, side by side for decades, in the true definition of a dynamic duo. And as I also know too well, running a family-run hire business, working with family and driving a successful business beside your spouse, whilst I assume rewarding, can be a hard feat at times. Firstly, I'm sure it was absolute gold, but what was Fox's one-liner, this conversation starter when you first met? And when you decided to start Advanced Tent Technology, what was the market like at the time, and what was the gap you were trying to fill in Adelaide?
Well, one of his opening lines was, "There's only one place in the world where we live, and that's Australia." So I kind of knew right off the start that we were going to end up in Australia. So Adelaide's a great place to live. It's a great place to work. We just basically came in after Formula One. He wanted to solve a few of the event issues. One of them was fabric cleaning machine, and the other one was eventually with the flooring, because he's a bit of an inventor at heart. So yeah, he spends a lot of money trying to make all these machines that work really well. So here we are.
Linda, we should give Fox some kudos and praise also for his unbelievable contribution. And I'd love to hear from your perspective maybe a decision that he made that you were initially skeptical of but turned out to be genius, and maybe looking back at the first project that yourself and Fox did when you moved to Australia, or these moments that have challenged you that we've all experienced when you say never again. How do you guys complement each other from the skills and traits that Jamie brings to the table that are completely different from yourself?
Well, he jumps into projects, and his projects don't necessarily have an end. Like he just keeps improving and improving and improving on things, certainly like the machines that he's built. So my job has been basically to go, we can't really afford to keep throwing money at this. Like, when is it going to be, good enough kind of thing? And yeah, he's a perfectionist. So yes, the cleaning machines have definitely been a hurdle. We thought at the time that we're going to invent something that the world is going to take over, like we do, thinking it's wonderful. But it's, so we've sold maybe 5 or 6 around the world. We're happy with it. For us, it's a great commercial cleaning center. And, it is what it is.
So he's the ideas man, and you're the one that grounds him again.
A little bit of practicality, just a little.
Linda, what have been the values and the philosophies that have really guided you through over 30 years of the highs, the lows, and whilst building the business?
Oh, basically, that old line of the client's always right. There's a little bit of a change to it in that we give the client what they need, not necessarily what they're asking for. And that's a difficult concept to get across sometimes, because some people have a really strong idea of what it is that they want, but it's not always possible. So we try to give them what they need and kind of edge them toward that direction.
Amazing. Linda, you've had a dedicated relationship and a 30-plus year involvement with the HRIA. You've worn many hats, from state president, state vice president, events chair, and having a massive contribution to the industry. Ben Quirk from Blackwood's Hire and the current South Australian president for the HRIA provided me with some amazing highlights of your contributions over the years. Linda has been a cornerstone of our association for a long time. She has She was state president for many years and has been a committee member for longer than I can remember. She's been a trailblazer for women, not only within our association, but also has been one of the first women in an only male-dominated national board of directors. Her dedication and influence has helped shape the path for many of us. She is very well connected and has a sharp insight into what's happening across the country, particularly in event hire. We're incredibly lucky to have her. Linda, you've been a mentor to many within the hire community, not only in representation, but rewriting the playbook for women in rental and providing immense support for event hire companies nationally. Through your judging of the Event Hire Company of the Year award and supporting peers behind the scenes, you've really made such an impact. And I also, prior to today's episode, reached out to good friends Mark and Trish Burton from Barossa Valley Hire, from back home in Adelaide, South Australia. Mark himself being a long-time president of the HRA. Mark mentioned that Linda is extremely passionate and hardworking, with her involvement with the association at both a state and national level for over 30 years. It is through this passion and dedication that our association at a state level and event sector has continued to prosper. Linda, what initially motivated you to coming on board, maybe just at the committee level, and what's kept you coming back supporting the association?
A couple of things. When I was growing up, my dad always said, if you want to have an opinion on something, you have to be part of it. And originally, they wanted Jamie to be part of the hire and rental of South Australia. And that was just not going to work. They were putting him on a committee with people that he just would bump heads with, that he didn't agree with how, what they were doing. So he volunteered me. And so since then, it's been an absolute, a bit of a joy, really, because I've gotten to meet so many lovely people, been involved in things that I never, ever would have expected would be offered. It's been great. I love it.
You really have had this immense passion and developed such expertise with judging the Australian Event Hire Company of the Year award, like we were talking about before we pressed the record button today, which I'm sure is no easy feat, but such a respected honour, it seems, for yourself. Mark additionally highlighted that Linda is doing an amazing job at running and judging the Rental Company of the Year award for the event sector. She comes with a wealth of knowledge and practical expertise, which she's willing to share. Linda, I'd love for you to dive into the qualities or the approaches that you've noticed in these event companies or event businesses that really make them stand out from the pack, and the criteria for the award, and when you're looking for these companies that are, I'm assuming, not only delivering great service, but continue to invest in culture and safety and customer relations. Well,
there's usually such a variety of companies. Like over the years, I've gone from like a mom and pop kind of in a very small area that have a small inventory, but what they do with all their heart and soul. And everything that they have is so tidy, so neat, so, up to date kind of thing. And then you go to the large companies who have everything that's new, everything, the IT. So sometimes it's very complicated to compare them all. But with the criteria that the board gives me, like I've got 8 pages of criteria. So at the end of the day, I tend to be a high scorer because, everybody's trying hard and have put their best foot forward. They know I'm coming, kind of thing. So the score differences sometimes are so, like one year it was 1 point between first and second place. You can't really ask for more than that. And I think the companies that are around that are nominated or nominate themselves feel very confident in the fact that they're doing a great job to the best of their ability, and they're servicing their market, which, again, depending on the companies, are all different.
That's something I really wanted to dive into, these moments and times where a company really surprised you, maybe not being one of the biggest players, but an organisation that showed real heart, innovation, and maybe real resilience and a true love for the industry. What moves you more? Do you look for these common traits of innovation, trendiness and tech, or the unbelievable heart and soul that rental companies can really have?
Mainly the heart and soul. Like if you are not doing something that you love, and are ready to dedicate a lot of hours of the day, of the weekend, of your family time, of your work time. Like, I don't know, maybe you're doing the wrong job, but yeah, to me it's the companies that just try to be everything to everyone that they're servicing.
So for someone listening today, maybe in one of these smaller organizations who has a small team or a small inventory and really trying to leverage everything they have, considering or contemplating what chance they might have in the awards process, what would you say to them?
Everybody has a chance. If I'm judging, everybody has a chance, mainly because everybody has something different to offer. And it's how you offer it, how you get involved in your community as well, because that's part of it, how you're respected within your business from your employees, your clients, your suppliers. It's all just a big integrated kind of group of people, really. And no matter how large or small it is, you need some of those people.
Has there been a real standout over the years that you really think back on and go, wow, that was just amazing?
Well, one that didn't win in Melbourne called Splashdown, they're just an amazing company. They're constantly doing innovative things. They are a family-run business. They're running in a really, really tight premises, in that they were going to have to move because they were building a road in their premises shortly. And they had the issues of trying to find a new premise, keep that one going. And between you and me, like, running a toilet business is not exactly the most glamorous of businesses, but they made it fun. They made it awesome. Their stuff was, like I said, innovative, clean, up to date, and they were lovely people.
And has there been some players, maybe a larger structure, that have really pushing the needle on the front edge, on the leading edge, that have just absolutely blown you away as well?
Possibly one this year.
Wait and see.
Wait and see.
Wait and see.
Possibly one this year.
Well,
I never add my scores up because I don't want to know. Because during the days before the gala, I meet these people again, and I don't want to let anything slip or tell anybody the wrong thing. So, yes, I don't add my scores up.
Linda, speaking of awards, High 21 was a special one.
Yeah, that was weird.
You were the first ever recipient of the Women in Hire Award on the Gold Coast, and I know it was an incredibly emotional and powerful moment, not just for you, but for the whole audience in the room. Linda, some key highlights during the speech of your award when it was being presented was 25 plus year involvement in the hire industry, state level leadership since 2001, SA president since 2005 to 2009, and state events president chair since 2010. Additionally, commended for your generosity, knowledge and proactive nature in supporting the industry. Linda, the lovely Sally Cannon, current marketing manager with the HRA, explained that Linda's unwavering dedication to judging the Event Company of the Year award since its inception in 2021 has been a key figure in fostering and welcoming a supportive community within our association. When asking Mark about the night of you receiving the award on the Gold Coast, he said that it was a very emotional night for myself when Linda was awarded the first ever Women in Hire Award a few years ago. Well-deserved and vindication of her hard work and devotion to our industry. Linda's invaluable leadership helping businesses like Barossa Valley Hire grow and succeed. Linda, these insights really promote your mindset of dispersing ideas, experience and sharing hard-won lessons with others, and a bolstering generosity, enhancing our industry and moving us all forward in the rental community. Linda, I'd love for you to share what this recognition really meant to you on the night, and more broadly, what progress you've seen and would like to continue seeing when it comes to supporting women in the industry.
Well, it was an awesome award. I was totally surprised. Many kind words were offered by a lot of people, which was lovely. I think when I first started on the committee, there weren't very many women in the industry to start off with. So it was always a bit of a challenge to to get my point across and to be heard, especially, the hire and rental across Australia, as far as I'm concerned, there is not that many event companies. The ones that are, some of them are huge and some of them are very little. So people are varied. They have varied ideas, varied marketplaces. And I think all of that is changing really quite radically and quite quickly. There is still place for the small businesses, and there's obviously always going to be place for the big businesses. But the big businesses do come close sometimes to swallowing up the smaller businesses that offer maybe sometimes a different kind of service, let's say. So it's nice, it's good, it's moving forward, and to me that's positive, and it has to happen.
Linda, Mark Burton shared an incredible story of how yourself and Fox welcomed him to the industry over 30 years ago at the Hire convention when he and Trish first stepped into the event hire space that year. He said that I've known Linda and Fox for over 30 years. We met them at a Hire convention all these years ago. Fox was exhibiting at the convention selling rotor structures.
Yep.
We had decided to expand our event hire market when they were the only guys who would talk to us, as we had no idea what we needed or even wanted. Fox really tried hard to get us into the market, something we regularly laugh about. Our friendship grew and for many years has been a part of our family. Both Linda and Fox have been to both of our sons' weddings. They've been godparents to some of our grandchildren, and we holiday with them every year. Our industry is like any other industry where you can forge some beautiful friendships. Linda, for myself, reflecting on these amazing insights from the Burtons and the broader industry and your amazing accolades now really displays this passion and hard work and driven prosperity of the event hire sector, and also strong friendships forged within the rental community and personal connections spanning decades. How do you see these relationships with people like the Burtons displays the unique nature and culture of our industry?
I think we're kind of it's a big association, but there is, this core of people that you see every single year that you look forward to seeing, and you look forward to catching up with them and hearing what they're doing new, what new projects they've taken on, to hear about their grandkids, to hear about their kids graduating from university or whatever. It's just like kind of a huge family, really. And that's part of what makes this association so good and so strong. The fact that people are really well respected by their peers and by, their opposition. So, which is kind of a different concept really these days.
It's a family reunion.
Exactly. It is for me anyway.
Linda, let's zoom into advanced tent technology, the business, the brand, and now a true legacy. Let's dive into, all things about the business and the business that yourself and Fox built to being one of Australia's most respected and really most known now via the association event hire companies around Australia. For those listening, you're not really a familiar and not a traditionally normal event hire company, very much niching with some very unique and specialist product lines. What really inspired the concept, and how has the company evolved from over time to meet these changing demands of, like you've said, in the event hire sector?
Well, originally we started, because it's called Advanced Tent, we started as the rotor agents, because Jamie was building corporate Formula One for Heinz Rotor. And then through the years, things evolved, things changed. We built the cleaning machines. We started to get involved in flooring. So we bought 60 square meters of flooring, 60. We now have 60,000 square meters of various types of flooring. Through the years, we got involved with Adelaide Oval during the period when Les Burdett was the curator. So we developed our pedestrian flooring, which is your floor, to make it a turf protection as well as pedestrian. So we changed the product that was out there to make it more viable for our uses. And the young man who was helping us with the testing of the product is now the current curator at Adelaide Oval, Damien Hoff. So we cover the Oval for concerts, We do it hand in hand with other large companies over the years because we can't always supply all the various products that are required. We do the tennis at the drive, we do the LIV Golf, we do the car racing, we do festivals. We just, every now and again, you find a new product and you kind of go, I think that's going to work for us. So we start off by buying a little, and then we end up by buying a lot or manufacturing other products. So over the years, everything's really evolved on a...
organic growth.
Yeah, and what the client needs.
Linda, you mentioned that your flagship product line is based on this foundation of the Your Floor system.
Yep.
And the way that you describe these products is you're clearly not selling flooring, but you're helping clients transform their spaces. And can you walk me through these different solutions under the Your Floor brand, from the pedestrian, outdoor, garage and super track product lines, and what kind of events or environments they're all suitable for?
Well, Your Floor, when we first started in 2008, the Pope came and did his World Youth Day at Renwick. So we sold, I want to say, 40,000, we produced 40,000 square meters of flooring to cover Renwick racetrack, because a week after we were out of there, they were having a race. So that was a kind of a big deal, and it kind of changed where we sat geographically as far as flooring suppliers. So the Your Floor product can be used as a turf protection, it can be used as pathways, it can be used on the bases of garage floors to make it easier for when you're working on a vehicle, because you're standing there all the time. It's softer than concrete, let's say, has some give to it. It lets water and air and light through, so it's really good for grass growth. It promotes growth, actually, so you can keep it down 7 to 10 days and it won't kill the grass. Yellow, for some reason, seems to be the magic, wonderful color, which is hard to push sometimes with different festivals and corporations that want their corporate colors. Colors are a problem in flooring because you never have the right tone, the right tint, the right volume. So we kind of do our own thing. We get flooring in medium access. We've got an American product called Shorelock or Duratrack, depending on who you're talking to. So we have medium and heavy access. We have LD20 aluminium roadway. It depends on what you need. So it's viable flooring for construction areas, right down to your garden party or your 21st or your wedding. So everything.
Linda, I love that you have a dual offering and the flexibility to make the business really stand out in such a competitive market in Australia. And one area that you've really innovated in this flooring and tent cleaning, and an area that's very much, I guess, overlooked, is the critical safety side, the aesthetics, but also the longevity of these products, and especially with the sustainability side becoming bigger and bigger priority here in event hire or the hire industry in general in Australia. I guess one benefit that we have as a rental community is that we're the true definition and the origin of the circular economy, where resources are shared and continued to be used, which advanced tent technology perfectly addresses with this use of multi-project or multiple reused products, materials, and also this waste reduction that you're achieving in the cleaning process. How have these machines with the vinyl cleaning really changed the game for your clients?
Well, we have clients that mainly do stage covers. As far as the commercial cleaning, we do a little bit of cleaning for smaller hire companies that their stuff is pretty much always out, so they don't have the time or the space really to clean it. So we can turn around sometimes, depending on the volume, in a day, in a week, in a month. It depends on how much fabric is being sent through. The testing was done over the years of washing 120 times. We got fabric from 6 of the different international fabric companies and did the testing on that to see what the wear and tear of our machines were, and they were negligible under microscope. So it means the good thing for us was that it meant that instead of having to throw your fabric away, and PVC is one of those landfill kind of fillers, it meant that you could keep reusing your fabric quite a long time and buy more fabric if you need more fabric, but you could use it. It's just like the flooring. The flooring, we have flooring, pedestrian flooring, since 2008 that we still rent out every year, multiple times. So it's the idea, and saving water. It's recycling water. We don't use detergents. If we use any kind of detergents, it's on a spot clean, and then wipe it off so it doesn't go through the whole cleaning system. And the water has been tested by the EPA, so we can put it right back down the drain. So over the years, we've just tried to make our footprint as small as possible.
Linda, event hire, or the event hire industry, has certainly faced its fair share of curveballs over the years, especially with global disruptions, rising costs, and changing client expectations. Since opening many years ago, from your perspectives on the front lines, judging the Event Hire Company of the Year award, what have been the biggest challenges that you've faced or have been facing in the industry right now, and how have you learned to adapt as a business through these shifts and staying resilient for so many years?
Well, probably our biggest hurdle was COVID, like everybody else. We had virtually no business for 2.5 years. The hurdle after COVID has been finding labor. We just can't seem to, I don't know where they went, what they're doing, but we can't find them. So it's been complicated. We get, especially for the big concerts and stuff, we do a lot of casuals. We do labor hire. We hire backpackers, travelers. You kind of have to pull them out of everywhere. And the easy thing with the flooring is it's basically almost like Lego, one piece goes into the next, to the next, to the next.
So if we're looking at the innovation in flooring, I'm sure advanced technology, I guess, is doing things very different today versus 5 years ago to 30 years ago, which you're continuing to develop all of these products. What are clients asking for now versus 5 years ago or even 10 years ago? And how are you staying ahead of these trends from a product development standpoint and servicing these customers over the years and staying ahead of these trends whilst, I guess, maintaining this practicality that you do so well?
Well, we try not to follow too many trends, because at the end of the day, that kind of can lead you into these, big traps. We tend to have certain products available. We will look at other products if people want it, and track mats. If all of a sudden all of our track mats are out and next month I've got another bunch going out, we'll buy more, because at the end of the day, it's going to pay its way. We expect our product to pay its way pretty quickly. So we purchase what we need when we need it. We try not to get too trendy as in colors. We do a lot of yellow. We do, your basic colors, gray, black, white, a little bit of red, a little bit of blue. We do checkered to make it look kind of snazzy sometimes, especially for the tennis. They seem to like that look. But generally it's especially in the construction products, all they're looking for is that it'll do the job. And everything that goes out comes back and gets repaired and cleaned before being put back on the shelf. So it's always ready to go kind of thing.
Linda, you guys are really known for working with some iconic clients and partnerships with the Adelaide Oval, the Royal Adelaide Show, LIV Golf Adelaide, and the V8 Supercars.
Yep.
Major events like these are often seen as, I guess, crown jewels of the industry, but they also come with immense pressure, tight timeframes, and complex expectations. I'm sure working with these large-scale events like LIV Golf or the Adelaide Oval not only requires you to deliver the reliability, but high quality of service at scale, whilst being under immense public scrutiny if the one checker's not right on the flooring. Linda, Australia and even the world's economic climate is always changing, and that we're always seeing these big ripple effects that can affect the event sector, like you said, in COVID, affecting clients' budgets and planning cycles. How sensitive would you say the South Australian event hire industry is to these broader trends, and how do you navigate these unpredictable periods?
Well, South Australia doesn't bring in as many concerts as other states do. So at the end of the day, you just kind of deal with the schedule. Most of the stuff is actually posted. You can see when the events are coming and who's going to be there, and gauge, the kind of volumes that you require. Like I said, we do a lot of labor hire. We're pretty efficient. We don't necessarily have to throw hundreds of people at a job. And we do sometimes 2 shifts in a day so that people are fresh. We feed people on site so they don't have to leave the site and find their way to finding food. For some of the venues are kind of, like Adelaide Oval. By the time you get out of the site itself, in your vehicle, go find some place to eat, you've spent easy an hour and you haven't really had anything to eat yet. So we feed and drink our staff, and that seems to work pretty well for us. People, certainly the labor hire companies, the same people want to come back and work for us at every concert that we do. I don't know, the events that we do, we've been doing them for so long. I guess they've kind of become old hat, and we love them, and we treat each and every one of them special, and the people on the grounds know us, and they have the faith that we're going to take care of their property.
Amazing. Linda, with being here today in Melbourne for the HRA show and the Hire and Rental Industry Association continuing to grow and evolve, how important has it been for you as a business owner, especially in the event sector, to being a part of growing the visibility and having this strong foundation of the HRA that it plays for businesses like us, small family-run businesses, weather the storm, seize new opportunities, stay connected, and provide all of these amazing resources?
Yes.
I know that you're a mentor to many in this space, but what would you recommend to people listening in that might be considering joining the association that you think could really help them grow long-term relationships or help grow their business?
Well, especially for young people, there's so many different programs around that really teach them, let them grow in their own space, kind of thing, gives them confidence. Those kind of programs are wonderful. The hire and rental as well has the programs as far as insurance. If you've got issues with staff, you can talk to solicitors to let you, you're always wading through these quagmires, especially these days. There's so much more paperwork to do. Yeah. Everyone wants you to cover their butt as well as your own butt. It's just, it's changing, but having said that, it has to change. It has to go forward with the changing needs and requirements, and each state, I think, is different. Like Victoria is different in that there's a lot of closed sites. You've got unions, you've got all kind of things like that complicate life. But sometimes you're lucky and you're in South Australia and those things are not quite so hard.
Linda, when it comes to growth and looking at the next 3 to 5 years for advanced tent technology, I'd love to hear what the future holds for you guys. I'm sure from a personal side, it consists of international travel, world tours, holidays away from the business, and if you're lucky, potentially solo, leaving Fox at home in Australia.
Well, I do that pretty much every year anyway when I go visit my dad in Montreal. This year he's coming with me, so that'll be challenging as well. We get to meet... Whenever we're in Montreal, we go and visit with the Cirque du Soleil because we were part of their installation from the first tour. I can't even remember when that was, a long time ago. Things were different now because they go a lot into arenas and exhibition centers and stuff like that, as opposed to putting their tents up on properties. That is a very expensive venture for them. We go and visit, I have a friend who is a supplier for the armed forces, so we go and see them. They have been making noises for probably 20 years about wanting a tent cleaning machine that can be put into a container and dropped from a whatever into a desert with then the mechanical core putting it together to clean. But so far, every time we get really close, that general retires. So we live in hope. You never know.
Amazing. Linda, I recently listened to a podcast where a guest challenges what he describes as the illusion of business success is that the only goal being endless pleasure at the end and sipping pina coladas on the beach forever. Instead, he pushes for the need for legacy, contribution, and community as essential elements for a fulfilled life as a business owner. He believes that reframing really helps these founders think what goes beyond the business, beyond life, design, and turning success into true significance. And moving into, I guess, finalising our conversation this afternoon, I wanted to finish with some kind words from Mark and Trish and the team at Barossa Valley Hire back home in South Australia. Linda is an amazing person who works extremely hard in their business full time. Their business, Advanced Tent Technology, is well respected throughout Australia, not just in the South Australian hire industry. She has supported our business for so many years and has helped us grow and prosper, something that Trish and I will be forever grateful for. And from Ben Quirk, together, herself and her husband Jamie have been tremendous friends and support, both professionally and personally, not just for me, but for my father before me. Her energy and vitality is remarkable. She is the health and fitness of someone much younger, which is probably a reflection of her background as a gymnast. Linda is a constant source of support for both the South Australian Committee and for me in my role as president. She brings a wealth of creative ideas and always adds a special touch to our events that makes them become memorable. Linda, reflecting on your captivating and successful career, life, and beautiful admiration from so many peers, yourself being such a trailblazer and leaving such an undeniable mark on our industry and continue to thrive as a business owner for multiple decades in a competitive field, what legacy would you like to leave and what gives you most pride and when you look back on this journey that's been?
I think hard work, perseverance, being stubborn sometimes. The fact that there are so many more women getting involved in the hire and rental industry, not just in events, but in equipment as well. I think that's, I don't know, it's lovely, it's awesome. It's something that makes me feel pretty good about the fact that whenever we show up at these annual exhibitions, we always really try to search out people that are there for the first time and looking uncomfortable and don't know anyone. We always go and introduce ourselves and go, okay, so what do you do? Oh, let me see if I can find someone you can talk to that'll know more about what you do than I do. So, I don't know, it's the people. To me, it's the people. The people make or break these kind of associations, and this one is a good one. It's got good people behind it.
Linda, we've spoken a lot about the power of relationships in this industry, how to collaborate, mentorship, and how our community can really make a difference in rental. But the rental industry can be grueling, always on the brink of burnout. We operate in a sporadic, reactive state and serve a fast-moving world. Someone that I really love, Naval Ravikant, he said that when discussing the meaning of life, there is no single answer that can make up all of our answers. Otherwise, we would not be free. Otherwise, we would all be trapped, competing with each other to fulfill a single meaning. The real answer is just because. That's the meaning, because you can make your own answer. That's the beauty. Linda, something that I always go away reflecting on after talking to yourself is your calming nature, and also talking to you is like receiving a verbal hug. It's very, very natural. It's very, this feeling of this optimism towards life that you have. But usually what seems to come natural to people is something that they've had to actively work on or work towards. If you were writing a letter to Linda back in the F1 days in Canada, what do you think she would think now where you are today and how far you've come? And I would love to know what keeps you grounded, focused, and how you stay inspired going forwards.
Oh, geez, what would I say to her then? I'd say, it's not going to get any easier. You're going to have to work harder. Keep it up. Smile, because a smile gets you so much more than, beating up on someone. Polite. Being Canadian, we're disgracefully polite. Annoyingly polite. I don't know. Just keep going. It's always fun. It's a great ride.
Amazing, Linda. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck controlling Fox over the coming days here in Melbourne with the casino just down the street.
He's not a casino boy. Thank God.
Enjoy the show. Enjoy Melbourne. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon, and thank you very much for coming on the Rental Journal.
Thanks for having me, Michael. It's been an absolute joy.